Kasi when we think about the Book of Mormon, we always think about yung mga fathers, mga prophets, mga great men.
Yeah. Even though there are great men here, marami ring great women that was mentioned in the Book of Mormon.
Exactly.
And we're gonna name some.
Hello everyone! Welcome to Faith.ph, and today's podcast we will be
Talking about mothers, since it's Mother's Day week, and since we are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or we are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we want to share life-changing stories that started from the Book of Mormon. So there are so many stories here that we would like to share, pero we were only going to share 3 stories, no? Tag-iisa tayong hinanda. About mothers na makikita dito sa Book of Mormon. We know that mothers are very, very special. And yeah, and we just love mothers. Shout out to my mother and to the mother of my son. Thank you very much.
Yes!
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Kasi when we think about the Book of Mormon, we always think about yung mga fathers, mga prophets, mga great men.
Yeah. Even though there are great men here, marami ring great women that was mentioned in the Book of Mormon.
Exactly.
And we're gonna name some. Ganito ang gagawin natin para hindi tayo malito, mag-pick-pack boom tayo kung sino unang magsasabi ng story. Okay, anyway, sino mauna? Hindi. May iba tayo na lang. May iba mauna. Okay, ready? May iba mauna.
Okay.
So, what story did you select from the Book of Mormon about mothers?
Saktong-sakto, yung sa akin actually, si Saraya.
Saraya
was the wife of Lehi. Si Lehi isang prophet. Mahanap siya particularly in the beginning, early chapters of the Book of Mormon. So yung story ni Saraya started when Lehi had a vision to leave Jerusalem and journeyed to the wilderness to the promised land. Itong si Saraya faithfully followed Lehi despite na alam niyang uncertain yung gagawin nila, and mahirap din kasi iiwanan nila yung wealth nila, iwanan nila yung comfort na meron sila nung nasa Jerusalem sila. And as a mother,
just because they want to listen to the prophet's voice, which is her husband currently.
Yes. Also, Saraya's faith was even more tested nung Lehi sent his son back to Jerusalem to get the breastplates. Mas lalo siyang nalungkot nung akala niyang hindi na makakabalik yung mga anak niya. Her faith was strengthened. She knows na yung anak niya was protected by the Lord. Yeah, yun yung basically story ni Saraya.
That's actually a good story that you mentioned, Stephanie, because it shows Saraya's faith not only to her husband, but to God. Because she knew na Lehi is actually communicating to God, and Lehi was, or indeed, a prophet at that time.
Yung sabi mo kanina, Kuya, nabanggit din ni Tini, yung facing uncertainty, pero still they left Jerusalem para sundan yung kagustuhan ng Diyos through Lehi, di ba?
I guess the main point of Saraya's story is really trusting in the Lord.
Yeah, so basically, she has a great trust.
And that is the quality that a lot of our mothers have. They know how to trust in God. They have great sensitivity if their family is in danger.
And also resiliency. Kasi despite na may mga challenges na meron sila, she knows how to adapt yung mga bagay-bagay.
That is what our mothers have. Yeah, great story. Next is rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, panalo ako. So yung sa akin naman, it is found in the Book of Alma. Specifically sa Alma chapter 56, which is a very famous story found in the Book of Mormon. This is the mothers of the 2,000 stripling warriors.
Ooh,
dami.
Ay, oo nga.
We all know that 2,000 stripling warriors fought. Ang dami nilang kinalaban. Tas 2,000 lang sila.
And bata pa sila.
At bata pa sila, mga teenagers siguro itong mga to. yet none of them died. Because of this phrase, okay? Babasahin ko ngayon sa Alma chapter 56, verse 47. Alma chapter 56, verse 47. Sabi dito, yet they did not fear death, and they did think more upon the liberty of their fathers than they did upon their lives. Yea, eto na, they had been taught by their mothers that if they did not doubt, God would deliver them. Can you imagine?
Scripture na yan eh.
Can you imagine yung sinabi or yung mga tinuro ng mga nanay nila sa kanila? Because of the teachings of their mothers, none of them died. Because they were taught by their mothers to doubt not, none of them died and all of them survived. Verse 48, sinabi pa dito, and they rehearsed unto me the words of their mothers, saying, we do not doubt, our mothers knew it. Ang ganda, no? Ewan ko ba, talagang iba lang talaga yung pagmamahal ng mga nanay. A lot of mothers will even sacrifice their life just for their children. At nakikita ko yun sa maraming mothers. Talagang they do everything in the house. Talagang they will wake up early just to prepare.
Kung may sakit yung tatay, yung nanay yung gumagawa ng kung yung nanay yung may sakit, siya pa rin yung gumagawa sa bahay. Diba?
Yeah, sabi nga nila, our first teachers are our mothers. Kaya yung unang words, unang knowledge na nakukuha talaga natin, most of it came from our mothers. Pinakita yon sa Alma chapter 56. Mothers ang nag-save. Well, of course, Heavenly Father saved the 2,000 stripling warriors. Pero because of the teachings of their mothers, none of them died. To all mothers out there, can you imagine yung mga tinuturo nyo sa inyong mga anak can actually really save them both temporarily and spiritually. So, yung mga turo ng mga nanay natin, it might be a very small teaching, pero yung impact nun sa mga bata, or impact nun sa atin, talagang malaki. Minsan take for granted natin yung mga counsel nila, yung mga paalala nila. Pero ako, I speak for myself, yung mga turo sa akin ng aking nanay, yung mga in-instill niyang mga principles sa akin when I was younger, nagagamit ko ngayon. We were taught to be self-reliance when we were younger. And now, na-practice ko talaga siya. Actually, Jared can relate to this.
Well, yeah. So, bilang isang bata na lumaki, na kasama lang yung nanay, syempre, naging father and mother figure ko at the same time. Pero, one thing I can say na, hindi ko naman sinasabing okay lang na may nanay ka lang na. Syempre, mas maganda pa rin kung kompleto. Pero, yung doon ko nakita yung resiliency ni mama na kahit anong pagod, ano yung mga problema sa buhay, ayun, still, andyan pa rin siya to give yung best advice na alam niya. Yung iparamdam na, actually, parang hindi ko naramdaman na wala akong tatay nung lumalaki ako. So, parang ganun yung yung grabing pagmamahal ng mga nanay.
One of the responsibilities of mothers is to nurture. And I think she did a good job to you. Raising you alone.
Now here you are, adult.
Yeah. Again, to all mothers, maraming salamat po sa pagturo po ninyo sa amin at sa inyong mga anak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lastly, magpapapikpakbook ba sana ako? Go!
So yung story nung akin, medyo short lang siya. Since itong nanay na ito, hindi siya named sa Book of Mormon like other characters din. So siya yung asawa nung hari ng mga Lamanites, si Lamonai.
King Lamonai.
Yeah.
King Lamonai.
So nangyari, merong isang prophet missionary na pumunta sa kanilang lugar para, si Amon kung naalala niyo, para maturuan din sila yung Ebanghelyo ni Yesu Cristo nung time na yan. Ngayon, habang tinuturuan ni Amon sila King Lamonai and yung kanilang kaharian, nung parang tinatanggap na ni King Lamonai yung gospel, may nangyari. And then dun pa lang yung part na yun sa story na yun, pumasok na-mention yung kanyang asawa.
Okay. Ano yung nangyari?
What nangyari? Tagal naman ng kwento mo. Ano nangyari nga?
So, Yun, nung nahimatay siya, sabi ng mga sa other kingdom, ay, patay na si King Lamon. Ay, ala, anong ginawa niyo? Pero syempre, yung mga kanyang asawa, nakikinig naman din. No? Ayun. And unlike the other servants, yung nanay na yun, she didn't know kung sino man si Amon at that time. Pero she believed yung words ni Amon. And nung tinignan naman niya yung katawan ni Lamonay, hindi naman siya babaho.
Si Amon, tinignan niya yung katawan ni...
Hindi. Si asawa ni King Lamonay. Tinignan niya yung katawan ni King Lamonay. Sabi niya, parang hindi naman patay kasi hindi naman namamaho. Yung parang natutulog lang. Yun yung sabi, di ba?
So, ayun. And then, nagkaroon naman siya ng faith na pakinggan yung parang sabi nga ni Amon before that, yung prophecy niya na ububoy naman si King Lamonay. And after a few days, dumating nga yung time na bumangon si King Lamonay. And yung favorite part ko dito sa story na to, na na-highlight yung faith nga ni asawa ni King Lamonay, is nandun sa Alma chapter 19 verse 10.
Basahin natin.
Sabi ni Amon, and Amon said unto her, Blessed art thou because thy exceeding faith. I say unto thee, woman, there has not been such great faith among all the people of the Nephites. Can you imagine? Ang galing nun. Pero, Lamanite si asawa ni King Lamonay. Pero kinumpara pa ni Amon yung faith ng asawa ni King Lamonay sa kanyang mga righteous brethren na Nephites. And I think it is because even though it was the first time na narinig ni King Lamonay's wife na magsalita si Amon na mag-message, talagang naniwala na siya sa power ng message na dinadala ni Amon.
Grabe, nakikita ko yung stories na parang nako-connect. It leads to one traits, which is faithfulness.
And I think one of the highlights here is really these mothers have really put their trust in God and God's teachings. That is why they know how to counsel or to teach or to nurture their children, because they have trusted in God more. I really believe that we have a lot of mothers like that as well, really putting trust in God just to serve their children and their family.
Dahil dyan, meron akong friend.
Okay.
Sinabi niya na yung mami niya laging tumatawag sa kanya. Pero ito yung pinakagusto kong sinabi niya, let them be a parent and let us enjoy being a child. And dun pa lang sa word na yun na speechless na ako. Naalala ko yung mother ko na I have to really appreciate every advice and every teachings na meron sila.
For every call, kahit madalas tumatawag sa kaibigan mo or madalas tayong kinakamusta, kahit hindi naman talaga, feeling natin hindi naman talaga kailangan, let them be a parent to us. Kasi someday they will grow old. There's also a saying na we're too busy growing up that we forget that our parents are growing old. We were talking about parenting here, pero again, these are definitely because of the love of the mother.
Let them be a mother.
Yeah. Let them be a mother. Let them, sa mga Gen Zs, millennials, or kung sino man mga nakakapanood nito na may nanay, let your mother nurture you and teach you continually. They love you so much. I know my mother loves me so much. Pero yeah.
Loves us.
Yeah. So, I'm grateful for that.
And if meron man kayong mga galit or hinanakit or grudges, just appreciate them. Just let them be.
Maybe kung may mga galit man or hidwaan sa family, just know that someday life is short. Someday you will realize that they're not there already. And yeah, it's just shows that we really have to give importance to our parents. Anyway, yun ang mga stories na nakita namin dito sa Book of Mormon. It shows how the Book of Mormon is really also giving emphasis to mothers, and it shows how we, mga nakakabasa nito, can live our lives as well on how we can treat our parents and our mothers especially.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Sige, so sa mother ko dyan, nanonood lagi ng Faith PH. Shoutout sa'yo.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day po sa
Happy
aming
Mother's Day,
nanay.
everyone. Happy
Maraming
Mother's Day.
salamat po. And to all mothers, happy Mother's Day.
We love you all, and
That's it for our video. Thank you very much for watching.
don't forget to follow us on our other social media accounts.
And if you have any questions, you can comment down below and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, that's it. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.